What's up, everybody? My name is Dell. This is Dell on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. And if you're watching this on the day that it is released, it will be Friday the 13th in October, which is something we don't get every year. So I had to take the opportunity to rank the entire Friday the 13th franchise. So you're looking at the box set right here, but what you don't see is that it is hollow right now. And that is because I have all 12 movies that are in the franchise stacked right here, and we're going to go through them and rank them from worst to best. Before I do that, though, I will say this franchise for me is a one that I grew up on, and it's one of the most consistent franchises of any genre. Whether you think they're all good or all bad, there's not big swings in quality like there are in a lot of other franchises. So I appreciate that about this, and that also means that even the ones at the bottom of the list I actually like. There's I don't know if there's a Friday the 13th movie that I just don't like. Matter of fact, I'm just going to say it flat out. No, there's not a Friday the 13th movie that I don't like. I like them all. The question is, which ones do I love more than the others? And those will get my top spots. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm reaching right over here, as I said before. And hopefully I didn't reveal anything. But let's go ahead and talk about them in order from the bottom to the top. There are 12 movies in the franchise, so somebody please give us one more, so at least we'll have 13 in the Friday the 13th franchise. But until that point, we're stuck with 12. Number 12 is going to be my least favorite, but still a good movie in my opinion, meaning a fun movie, not a good movie, but a fun movie. That is Jason Takes Manhattan. This is Friday the 13th, Part 8. And in this one, of course, Jason, he goes to Manhattan. And it is from it's a blast, especially once we on the way to Manhattan. We got the boat when he's killing people. One of my favorite kills in the franchise, the boxing kill where Jason is on top of the roof. If you know, you know. I'll leave it at that. The next movie, number 11, is going to be Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Again, it's got some great kills in it. It's another fun watch. We get this is one of the ones where people are not sure if it's actually Jason. Then it turns out that it's not Jason, but it's still a fun watch. So Friday the 13th Part 5 gets my number 11 spot. Number 10 is going to be Friday the 13th Part 3 or Friday the 13th 3D, however you want to call it. And this one, when I was growing up, this was actually one of my favorites. And as I've watched it over and over, as I've gotten older, it is not quite one of my favorites anymore. You can see it's actually on the bottom, but it does have some really fun kills, and all the 3D stuff is a lot of it's goofy, but some of it's really good. So I'll always hold on to that for this movie. Number 9 for me is this one is going to be Friday the 13th Part 6, and this is the one after top. Of course, after Part 5, this one, Tommy Jarvis is really trying to catch Jason here, or trying to prove that he's still alive. And it's got some fun kill. Like, one of the kills is we get Jason bending over someone completely backwards from a lying position. So that was an amazing kill. Number 8 is a movie that a lot of people have at the bottom of their list, and this one kind of creeps up every time I go through the franchise. And this one is Jason X, and I like it because what I think that I get, or at least in my opinion, about this movie that a lot of people are not willing to give it, is that this is a parody of the rest of the franchise. All the movies that came before it, this is a self-parody, and I think they're pretty obvious with it, and I get a good laugh out of it. And it has probably the most iconic kill, which is the frozen head kill. And again, if you know, you know. Number 7 is a movie that it could be as high as my top 3, and maybe even a spot down from here, but it is Friday the 13th Part 2. And I keep talking about kills because that's really what the franchise is about, and the wheelchair kill in this movie is just spectacular. As far as the whole movie goes, every time I watch it, it's another one of those where, man, this is actually better than I remember. This is like every time I watch it. So right now it's sitting at number 7. If I do this again, maybe it'll be at 6 or 5, or who knows where it'll be. Number 6, speaking of number 6, is going to be Friday the 13th, not Part 6, but Part 7. This is The New Blood. And this is basically Jason versus Carrie is what it boils down to. So we get a character who has some telekinetic powers, and she is Jason's adversary for the movie. It's a lot of fun. It's the first time we really see a character who can challenge Jason in any physical way. Not physical as in she's stronger than him, but because of her powers. And I have a lot of fun with that. Number five is a movie that is just absolutely bonkers, goofy fun, and it brings in another horror icon into the mix. And of course, that's Freddy in Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, it's not going to win any awards for a great movie, but it is a great time to watch. Number four is going to be the remake to Friday the 13th, the 2009 remake, Friday the 13th. This has some of the most brutal kills in the franchise. I like what they did with Jason here. I like the direction that they took. Gave him some intelligence. He's not just a mindless killing machine. And he makes it pay off. So I was hoping that we got a sequel to this one. Looks that's never going to happen, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed what we got out of it. Number three is a movie that if I did this ranking, when I did this ranking actually a few years back, I used to do a blog where I did written reviews and I did top tens and things like that on that also. And this movie was actually near the bottom. And as I watch it again, it's another one that just gets better and better to me. And for me, this is my Season of the Witch. Halloween fans have Season of the Witch. This is the movie that doesn't have Michael Myers in it, and people dislike it for that reason. Well, I'm going with Jason Goes to Hell as my version of that, where Jason is in it, but he's doing a lot of things. He's kind of being passed around from body to body. If you see it, you know. And I really enjoy that. So that's my number three. For my top two spots, I swapped back and forth. I flip-flopped. I debated. And for number two, I finally went with Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. And this is the one with Corey Feldman in the movie. And it is, if I'm being objective, I probably say this is the best Friday the 13th movie. It's also got some of the most memorable moments with Corey, and of course with Crispin Glover and the dancing, which is really terrible, but the whole movie as a whole is pretty good. So I'm going with that for my number two, and that means in my top spot, number one is going to be the original Friday the 13th, 1980. It's just a movie that's, close, near and dear to my heart. And it is a really good movie as far as I'm concerned, as far as slasher movies are concerned. And it gets shortchanged a little bit in how important this movie is. And because it is a well-known fact, I'm not denying it, that this movie basically was ripping off Halloween. That is a well-known fact. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. However, what happened in the 80s is that so many movies came out ripping off this movie more than they actually ripped off Halloween. So yes, Halloween is the original, the genesis of the slasher. Not the original slasher. There were slashers before that, but that's the one where you can point to and go, okay, this is where it started. But this is the one that most of those movies copied, and again, it's near and dear to my heart. I will always love this movie, so that's why it gets my top spot. Happy Friday the 13th, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy spooky season, and I will catch you on the next one. Let me know, by the way, before you catch me on the next one, let me know how you rank the Friday the 13th movies, and now catch me on the next one. Bye.